Luke chapter, these are going to be tough ones for us sometime, because as we look into the Valentine's Day season and everybody's buying candy and there's this big giant Reese cup heart-shaped thing that's got like 6 million calories in it, you know? And I didn't have even one person try to tempt me with it, but you know, they sell all kinds of things. They sell candy, they sell this, they sell that during this time of year, but you know what we're going to try? We're not selling anything today. We're sharing something with you. And one of those things is this little thing called LOVE. So here we go. Luke chapter 6, verse number 35 says this. It's a tough one. Love your enemies. Wow. Ouch. Ouch. How many of you have trouble loving your enemies? Yeah, all of you better raise your hand. All of us have trouble loving our enemies. We all have trouble loving our enemies, but in the book of books, God's love letter to us, He says that He wants us to love our enemies and pray for those who despitefully use us. Anybody ever feel like you've been used? All of us have. Pray for those who despitefully use you and say all manner of evil things about you. We're supposed to love them. Romans chapter 12, verse number 9 says this. And do good to them. This is what that passage in Luke says. And then the next one it talks about, may our love be sincere. May our love be sincere. You ever seen somebody and you've seen them as a couple and they're like, man, oh man, they just don't act like they love one another. Because you can see it. But when I tell you that I love you, I want you to know that I love you. And I hope you all know that. I've told you that before. You know, there was a story one time, husband and wife, they went in and they talked to the preacher, and they were having some marital problems. They'd been married several decades, and she went in and he went in, and they sat down in the preacher's office, and the woman says to the preacher, preacher, he don't tell me he loved me. And the preacher says, brother, is that so? He says, yeah, that's so. He said, I told her on the day that on the day we got married that I loved her, and if it changed, I'd let her know. But how many of y'all love to hear that you're loved? How many of y'all love to hear somebody tell you, hey, you know what, I love you? I love to hear that, amen? When we're driving down the road, me and the wife, we hold hands when we drive down the road. How many of y'all still hold hands, couples? How many of y'all hold hands? It's okay. Raise your hand if you hold hands, all right? We drive down the road, and yesterday we were driving back from Birch Run, and I'm driving my left arm, and I got my wing got broke back years ago, and I had to have the doctor put it back together. And so I'm driving with my left hand, and I'm holding Sweetie with the right hand, and so that I didn't want to let go of her hand, but my arm started throbbing. Boom, 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 boom. And it was like, man, we're going to be all over I-75 if I don't switch hands. And so I pulled my hand away and I put it up on the steering wheel. And so then I started resting this arm up here. She says, is your arm hurting? Man, I'm so glad she picked up on that. But you know what? Our love ought to be sincere. You know, a lot of folks they're actors. We got a group of wonderful actors here, the Liberty Players that come here on practice on Saturday night. And we got some wonderful actors and actresses. They do an awesome job. And they are able to play that part so well. Stephanie is one of the best actresses that we have. And she gets in her game face on her play, and she gets in her game face, and you're like, wow. You know what I'm saying? And we've had a few of our other actors and actresses. When Brother Tim was playing Jesus during our Passion Play in years gone by, we had a fellow who was set up here who was from Miss Danielle's Senior Center, and I talked to him on the phone, and he was the fellow who got the contractor for our roof. Anyway, he was telling Miss Danielle, I wanted to get up and get those guys that was beating Jesus. pretty good acting, right? But friends, we ought not be actors when it comes to this little thing called L-O-V-E. What? To be sincere is what the book of Romans chapter 12 verse number 9 says. Be sincere in your love. Be sincere in your love. And how do we show somebody that we're sincere in our love? Well, last night, Pastor Jarrett, he plays Jesus, and Judas wasn't here last night, and so his wife, Miss Hannah, was stepping in to be Judas for the kiss scene.
It works.
Well, I was waiting for it to dip him, you know. But you know, a kiss tells a whole lot about how much you love somebody.
Amen.
Judas kissed the Lord, but it had nothing to do with love. Mark chapter 12, verse number 31 says this, that we're to love our neighbor. Who is our neighbor? Is it just the guy next door to us? Is it just the person who lives behind us? Our neighbor is anybody who we come in contact with. We need to love our neighbor. I have a friend of mine who is a pastor in Uganda, and he talked to me this week. He says, Pastor Buddy, he says, I have a prayer request. I had to send my 2 nephews over to boarding school, and he has custody of his nephews, and he had to pay for them to go to boarding school in Uganda. And he says, I'm praying that God will send us a financial miracle. Do you know he's my neighbor? And I told him, absolutely, we will pray for that direction. Our neighbor is anybody that we come in contact with. Take your Bibles and turn. I want you to read this one because I wrote myself a note and it says, read this one. That's what happens when you get a piece of paper, blank piece of paper and a pen, and the Lord pours out on you. All right? 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Verses 4 through 8. Charity, or love, suffers long, and is kind. Love envies not. Love vaunts not itself. It is not puffed up. It does not behave itself unseemly. It seeks not her own. Is not easily provoked. Thinks no evil. Rejoices not in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part, but when the which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away with. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as I am known, and now abideth these 3 things, faith, hope, and love. These 3, but the greatest of these is love. It's the greatest. It's the greatest. Love, faith, hope, and love. 1 Peter chapter 4 verse number 8 says this, that love covers sin. 1 John chapter 4 verse number 7, that says we are to love one another. And then John 15:13 talk about that sacrificial love. That is when a mama gives up her Pepsi-Cola and splits it between her 3 kids because it's the only one left in the refrigerator, but she didn't want to have her children do without a Pepsi-Cola, and she was saving it for herself when she sat down to watch General Hospital, and she was going to open that up, and she was going to watch General Hospital with a cold Pepsi-Cola, tall one in the glass, and she was going to hold that thing and watch her favorite story, and she didn't do that because she loved her kids, and she split that thing 3 ways and caused an addiction that lives to this very day. That's what love does. Amen. Sacrificial love. I hope that we can learn that sacrificial love. That we give of our time. we give of our talent, and that we give of our treasure. And the only way we can do that is if we have a frame of mind and a frame of heart that is sacrificial. A sacrificial love. Ephesians chapter 5, verse number 25 says this, that we're to love our spouse. A lot of people think that God says that as a suggestion. I want to tell you that God commands that we love our spouse.
Amen.
Amen. People say, I can't love my spouse. I'm like, man, oh man, you married him. You married her. God says you're supposed to love him. That ain't an ass, that's a towel. Ephesians chapter 5, verse number 33, that we're supposed to have love and respect one for another. Colossians chapter 3, verse number 14. I got this stuff that came out when I was a kid. It called super glue. That's some good stuff. Did you know if you get that on your fingers,
It stays for quite a while.
that's why they call it super glue. You remember the guy? He put it on his hard hat and he squirted it on the thing and he stuck himself to the beam and he's hanging. You know, they want super glue. Did you know that love is a glue? Colossians chapter 3, verse number 14, it says love is a glue. It will stick us together. Captain and Tennille even understood Colossians 3:14.
Yeah.
You remember her?
Yeah.
Love will keep us together. Think of me, baby, whenever. Right?
Yeah.
Because she's talking about somebody coming in and goes, when that girl starts hanging around, talking to me. You know what I mean? Love is a glue. Proverbs chapter 10, verse number 12 says this, that love covers hate. Proverbs chapter 17, verse number 17 gives us an unending friendship. Unending friendship. How many of you have friends in your life that have been there forever? Isn't that cool?
Absolutely.
Isn't that cool? Oh man, we're out of time. I have friends in my life, and I was going to do a thing on Black History Month, and I'll probably post it on my Facebook page. It'll be a live thing. And I got some friends that have been with me since the 5th grade. When I was a kid, they had this little thing called forced integration in the city of Pontiac.
Amen.
They busted a bunch of little black kids north, and they busted a bunch of little white kids south. And it was in the courts and all those things, and we got put on the bus and we were going downtown, and some people were walking to Washington, D.C. I have no problem people protesting, but I want to share something with you. They stopped our bus and they started banging on our bus and they were calling us all kind of vile things. I was in the 5th grade, people.
Right.
I was in 1st grade.
But I went and got bused to Bagley School. And I was the only little white boy in the class. And there was 5 little black boys in the class. 2 of those fellas are in heaven today. The other 3 are still there. And I'm still friends with the one that I'm still in contact with, and his name is Kim McNeil. KYM. And Kim, if you're watching this, I love you. We're friends to this very day. The world says that we're not supposed to love each other. The media wants to drive a wedge between he and I because of the pallor of our skin. But I tell you what, if you cut our veins, we both will bleed red.
Amen.
And I love him to this very day. I love him. We've been friends that long. And I wouldn't trade it for $1,000,000. The Bible talks about that unending love. People that you've been, not necessarily your spouse, but somebody who you can just count on. They've been there all the time. They've been there through thick and through thin. And I'm talking about the weight loss and through getting fat again. You know? But that's what love does. But I want to close with this passage right here. Now listen close when I ask this question. What does 1 John 3:16 say?
God so loved the world.
I'll ask that question again. What does 1 John 3:16 say?
Oh, that's First John, not John.
There you go.
You said John. You tricked us.
We'll play the tape back, Brother Tim, in a minute.
All right.
Hereby perceive we the love of God, because He laid down His life for us. That's the greatest love story ever told. And then John 3:16 says, for God so loved. That's the greatest love story ever told. When Mary was weeping at the foot of the cross, and Jesus says, behold thy mother, behold thy son. That's the greatest love story ever told. And when He held His hands as they were nailed to the cross, and He says these words, forgive them for they know not what they do. That's the greatest love story ever told. And then He cried these words, it is finished.
Thank you, Jesus.
It's finished. That's the greatest love story ever told. When they took His broken body down from the cross, and they took Him to the tomb, and He laid there for 3 days. And the angel met her. Why seek ye the living amongst the dead? That's the greatest love story ever told. And see, Thomas missed church that first Sunday morning. But Jesus already knew. He said, Thomas, when He seen him the next time, take and touch the nail prints, thrust your hand in my side. And Thomas fell to his knees and he said, my Lord and my God. That's the greatest love story ever told. Let's all stand. Every head bowed, every eye closed.